Hi y'all, it's Liz again with Shutterbucks Photography, and I'm going to talk to you about second shooters. Second shooters are primarily used during weddings, and they're there to help you get a little bit of extra coverage, be your assistant, be there as a backup. I've known huge weddings to have 3 or 4 shooters even. For just a general rule of thumb, I think that it's a good idea to have a second shooter for any wedding that's over like 50 people, 50 to 60 people, as long as there's room for one. Side note, I recently did a wedding and there was no room for a second shooter. There was barely room for me. They just had a really cramped space. But use a second shooter, for anywhere between your 60 to 120 people. If it gets more than that, you can always add in an assistant or someone else to help you. It's whatever you're comfortable with. But once you hit that little, bigger than just a normal get-together size group of people, you're gonna want a second shooter to help you out. Some of the things you need to consider when you're hiring a second shooter, you want to see their work. First and foremost, you want to know that they have the type of equipment that can handle second shooting a wedding, and you want to make sure that they have the type of equipment that can come in and be a primary shooter if something happens to you, or you need to be able to trust them to use your equipment if something were to happen to you during the wedding and you weren't able to shoot. So their skills and their knowledge of cameras, obviously that's a given. You really want to make sure that they can be useful. You don't want to hire a second shooter and then all their pictures are just junk. Okay, so let's just be real about that. The second thing, once you know that you have someone that can handle the equipment and takes good pictures, contracts. You make sure that they're willing to sign one and make sure you use one. There are several different links that you can find, and I'll put one below of the things that second shooters should know and second shooters should do. Second shooter responsibilities are there to help you. They are there to maybe cover anything that you can't quite get to. You shoot the bride getting ready, they shoot the groom, or vice versa. They're there to help you set things up, set up lighting, hold a diffuser for you, or bring you water, or maybe back up your memory cards while it's slow during dinners, things like that. They're there to help you. Make sure that your second shooter understands that, and make sure they're okay with taking direction. So that leads me into the next one. They need to understand that they can't shoot over your shoulder. They need to come up with their own ideas. They need to be their own person while you're not directing them. A second shooter should have the opportunity to get some good shots for their portfolio, and you want to give them that opportunity, but you also want to make sure that they know that they should be shooting other things or other angles. And again, all these little things are things you can research into more to get more ideas, but this is just like a general, some general tips. When you are having your second shooter in the beginning, when you're discussing terms, it's up to you how you do it. You can say, hey, I'll let you help me shoot a wedding for free, and you can use your pictures after I'm done with them for your portfolio. This is good for someone that's wanting a wedding experience. They're dying to shoot a wedding and they just haven't quite got there yet, and there's someone that wants to get into wedding photography. You can pay them a significant amount of money, and they are not allowed to use the pictures. They all get turned over to you. They're your property. And the best way to explain this to people is, you work for a clothing company. Just because you sew the clothes doesn't mean you can put your name on it. You're there under that label, that brand. That's how second shooters work. But there are times where you can, it doesn't matter what the rule of thumb is. You can really do whatever you want as long as your second shooter is okay with it. Just don't take advantage of them. Having them shoot for free and allowing them to use it for their portfolio is totally acceptable. And just make sure it's in writing and they agree with it. And just make sure they understand some of the common courtesy. Don't post the pictures before the main shooter. Make sure they know that, and make sure that they aren't out there handing out their business cards and pushing their own name. I mean, they really are there working under you and helping you. So I will find a link to some tips that are really great. It really outlines it. You can just pull all those things and throw it into a contract if you want to. And, you know, it's a good place to get you started if you're going to start considering using second shooters. It doesn't matter where you live. I'm sure you can find a Facebook page that is just people waiting to second shoot. A lot of people love to do that. So, you know, take these things and you can take what you think will suit you. And, you know, if you have any ideas or anything, comment below. And please subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a good night.